So before we get into this video, I first want to ask you to pause and to check your screen time right now. Check how long your screen time is per day. If you are under the 2-hour mark, good job, and this video probably is not for you. If you are spending more than 2 hours screen time on your phone every day, let's talk about it. I also wanted to quickly hop in and just say before we start this video, there were 2 YouTubers that really inspired this video for me. I think I'll be talking about a lot of similar things that they were talking about, but I wanted to keep this conversation going. So check out their videos. I will link them down below if you want to learn more and hear different sides to a similar topic. In 2023, I made a very conscious effort to avoid social media. And by social media, I mean TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, Snapchat. Facebook and Snapchat are basically dead to me. Not to be harsh. I just realized that I needed to cut down on these things, and I thought I was doing a pretty good job at the end of 2023, but if you actually look at my screen time, it did not go down. Notice how when I was talking about how I avoided social media apps, I didn't mention YouTube. I personally didn't think YouTube was like social media. It's long form content. There's some really cool things I've learned off YouTube. I love posting to YouTube. So I didn't really think it was a big deal to like really focus on analyzing how much time I was spending on YouTube. Last year though, I think I probably spent the most time on YouTube in my entire lifetime. And I think the reason for that was because I was being so cautious about spending time on these other social media apps that then I just like used YouTube to fill the void. Like I spent way more time on YouTube than I usually would. And I didn't like to think of it as like a problem because I still felt, to myself, I still felt proud that I was doing better. Like I still wasn't going on Instagram for multiple hours a day or anything like that. But when I reflect on 2023 and how much time I spent on my phone, I realized it was a problem. You know, there were specifically some weeks I looked at my screen time and it would say something like 18 hours on YouTube. You know, I'm spending more than a whole working day just on YouTube. Granted, I would make excuses like, oh, well, I like to sometimes like listen to a podcast on video format on my phone when I'm working, or I'll use that to fall asleep, which honestly is just like an unhealthy habit in general to use a YouTube video to help me fall asleep. But yeah, I'd make excuses like that and be like, oh, that's why it's, 18 hours, but it's 18 hours, come on. And my other excuses were like, oh, well, I love history channels, and I also watch videos on how to get better at posting on YouTube or how to improve my productivity and da 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 da. And then I realized, well, okay, do you need 18 hours of this material every single week? And if you're really being honest with yourself, there's so much other junk that you end up consuming, probably more than those videos. I go down rabbit holes on the weirdest things on YouTube. I've learned about YouTuber beef, tea channels, things about celebrities I didn't need to know. I've consumed so much random content on YouTube, and no hate to that content because, it's captivating. It got me hooked. I would go down these rabbit holes, but I didn't need it for my own life. And it wasn't actually fulfilling any really positive needs in my life. Like, for example, true crime. That is something I would watch a lot of, true crime content. Do I need to know all these details about these like graphic murders or stories? No, I really don't. And I really think if I'm honest with myself about 2023, sure, I cut down a lot on the other social media channels, but did I cut down on YouTube? No, I probably went overboard with it. And I think that's why this year I really want to focus on correcting that problem. And, even now as I'm trying to correct this issue, or I guess form a healthier habit with YouTube, I noticed that, I go on YouTube every single day. I don't think there's a single day I don't check YouTube. And yes, I'm posting content on YouTube. I'm trying to post twice a week, but I can check that. They have like a YouTube Studio app where you can check like the analytics and see if any comments come through. I don't need to be on YouTube every single day. And I do feel a bit like an addict where I'm trying to like wean myself off and fix the habits that I've formed and make healthier habits. So, currently you'll see in my last video, I talk a lot about being more intentional with the content I consume. And, I'll now use YouTube as like a reward system. I've had a really good work day. I haven't been on my phone much. You get to have one history video to watch in the evening or the late afternoon. And I feel like that feels like a healthier way to kind of detach from constantly being on YouTube. Now it's like, oh, this is like a treat. This is a reward for, not constantly browsing. Now you get to watch one video, and I really try to just like focus on that video instead of, sometimes I would be on YouTube on my phone. I think the phone is the big problem for me. Again, hence why I mentioned screen time. I'd be watching the video and then my attention span, yes, it's long form content. I'm trying to tell myself that this is like not so bad to consume. Well, you know, the whole time I'm in the comments, reading the comments, or if I'm not in the comments, you know, the video is minimized and then I'm back on the home page looking for the next video to click on. Like, it is crazy actually how social media gets us so hooked. Don't get me started on YouTube Shorts. I don't even think, honestly, YouTube Shorts are that great, as in like the algorithm doesn't usually find the things I'm actually interested in, but I would still just like be browsing through it. So me cutting out TikTok and Instagram didn't really do much because I'm just supplementing it now with YouTube and YouTube Shorts. So yeah, I realize that YouTube can be a problem. I think it's a lot healthier for me to watch a video on my laptop, treat it like a movie, treat it like a treat. I'm focused on it, I'm watching it, versus me scrolling through my phone nonstop on YouTube. And, you know, I've really played with the idea of deleting the app. As I mentioned, there's YouTube Studio where I can still see how my analytics are doing. I've decided not to delete the app for now because this week, the beginning of 2024, has been going pretty well with just making sure I'm more intentional of when I hop on YouTube and the way I'm consuming content. But I will update you guys. You know, if I'm finding it hard to get my screen time down for YouTube, I think I'll have to delete the app. I think that might be the next step. And you know, the funny thing is, I talk about, you know, cutting down on different apps and everything. YouTube was one of the main app that kind of replaced all the other social media apps, but I also ended up being someone who read a lot of Reddit last year. I never thought I'd be a Reddit person. I was going on Reddit a lot. Again, nothing wrong with Reddit. I just didn't think I'd spend that much time on it. But last year I ended up spending a lot more time on Reddit because I'd cut down on other social media apps. So that's another thing I'm being careful about this year. And then, you know, I'll throw this in here as well. This week, a new challenge in my life was I've been cutting down on YouTube. I've already cut down a lot on the other social media apps besides when I'm posting for my business and stuff. I found out in the recent Elon Musk book that he really liked a phone game called Polytopia. So I downloaded it because I was curious. You know, he had like, I can't remember, it was like 7 lessons from Polytopia or something like that. I used to love playing Civilization before, and if you're a big Civ player, and you get hooked on it, don't play Polytopia. Polytopia is like the phone game version of Civ. I spent, the other night when I first downloaded it, I think I spent like 2 to 3 hours playing it. Again, destroyed my phone screen time. Not great, and I will have to delete that app off my phone. You know, it hasn't been too bad this week, but I do notice like when I have downtime and now I'm like, oh, can't go on social media, can't go on YouTube, along comes Polytopia. I never have been a big phone game girl either, so it's really interesting. These little things make it harder to cut down. So I think that's why my goal for 2024 is cut down on phone screen time in general. I don't want to be on my phone for more than 2 hours a day. Because if I'm posting stuff for work and everything, even if I'm talking to friends, there's no reason to be on your phone for more than 2 hours a day unless, you know, your job specifically needs that. So yeah, this is a little bit of a ranty video. I just wanted it as like a follow-up for my last video. My last video, I talk about how I'm changing my life this year, the kind of realizations I've had, and how I want to be more intentional with content I consume. So this is, you know, a follow-up on that. It's me just kind of talking about why that's so important to me this year. And I want to hear from all of you in the comments below that stuck around, that has more than 2 hours every day spent on their phone. How are you feeling about it? What are your tips for cutting down on, you know, your screen time? Do you feel like you're in control of how much content you consume? I'm really interested to hear the conversation down below in the comments. Anyways, I will see you guys all in the next video. Thanks for sticking around, and enjoy the rest of your week. Bye, friends.